Welcome back to another NHL 25 video. This video, we have the best defenseman build, the Dman build that I'm going to be rocking, at least for the time being, what I've been rocking so far this year and what I've been absolutely loving playing defense. So let's get right into it. First, of course, for your archetype, we are going to be rocking a PMD. We're going to make him 6'1", because when you're 6'1", you actually have a little bit longer of a stick on your player, which gives you a longer reach for things like poke checks, stick lifts, all that good stuff, and also picking off passes. But then we are going to make him 160 pounds because most of the time I do make these builds for 3/4s, and when you're playing 3/4, speed is an absolute necessity, especially when you're on these smaller builds like PMDs, snipers, danglers, all those type of builds. Shooting hand is, of course, preference as always, and abilities and boosts we will come back to as always. All right, and first for your technique attributes, like I mentioned in the last video, we of course do have those extra additional 80 skill points, so this is going to help out, and we of course add 5 to our speed. So like I said, speed is an absolute necessity, especially when you're playing 3s. 6s, it's definitely good to have speed, but it's not nearly as much of a necessity as it is when you play 3s. Then we're going to add 3 to our balance. We're going to take 3 off both wrist shot and slap shot accuracy, then take 2 off your agility, as 88 agility is more than enough, especially for a D-man. Next, for your power attributes, we're of course going to add 5 to our acceleration, of course, as it seems like acceleration does actually matter this year. Then we're going to add 1 to our wrist shot power, as we are going to end up needing this for one of the abilities that I'm at least going to be rocking on this build. If you don't want to use this ability, that is of course up to you, and you don't need to do this. You can kind of mess with your power attributes a little bit differently, but this is what I'm rocking with and what I recommend, at least if you like to take some shots from the blue line. So then we're going to take 5 off slap shot power, 5 off your endurance. I feel like 86 endurance is more than enough, as long as you're not spamming the shit out of your turbo button and you're not literally draining it all every single time you go up and down the ice. And also, as long as you regen it when you do actually have the opportunity to, then we're of course going to just have to take 1 off puck control as well. After that, for your playstyle attributes, the additional 80 skill points is of course going to come in absolutely humongous for us again here. What we're going to do is we're going to add 2 to defensive awareness, 2 to body checking, 2 to offensive awareness, 1 to passing. Then we're just going to take 5 off stick checking. Reason being, I say it every year and it still feels the same this year. It just does not feel like the most important attribute, as long as you're smart with your poke checks and your stick lifts and you time them right and you're not going for poke checks or stick lifts when you're literally behind somebody. For the most part, you really won't get penalties as much as you would either way, whether you had a 77 or you had an 85 stick checking attribute, in my opinion. And we're also going to actually make up for that a little bit later in the build as well. Then for your tenacity attributes, you're just going to want to add 5 to your strength, take 5 off shot blocking, and take 4 off your durability. Reason being is I feel like for your D-man build, strength is an absolute necessity, because when you're going into those puck battles, whether it be on the boards or not, you absolutely want to have the most strength so you have the best chance to win those puck battles. And finally, for your last attributes, your tactics attributes, we're going to add 4 to discipline, 2 to deking. Then we're going to take 5 off your face-offs, as since this is a D-man build, we are literally not going to be taking face-offs at all on this build. Then you're just going to want to take 3 off your fighting skill. Reason I didn't just completely juice up our deking is because discipline, I feel like this will help you take a little bit less penalties, especially than your stick checking attribute will. I feel like discipline is a little bit more useful when it comes to attributes than stick checking. I could be wrong. If y'all think differently, let me know down in the comments below. However, this is just what I've noticed so far in the short time that I've been playing this game so far. So of course, if I do notice anything different as the year goes on, I will of course make updated builds. Now, going back to our abilities, for our zone ability, of course in previous years we would have absolutely gone gold elite edges in a heartbeat, not even thought about it. But this year you actually have a little bit more of a choice, which is why it's a good thing and also a bad thing that elite edges is not in the game anymore, because it actually gives you a little bit more flexibility. And now it's just not, okay, we absolutely have to lock up a spot of our build to use elite edges, because it was pretty much a necessity before. Now that it's not really in the game unless it's on a preset build, you kind of have to choose what abilities that you want to use to go with your playstyle. And what I decided to go with, like I said, for our stick checking and to kind of make up for that a little bit, we are going to go with stick 'em up. That's what I decided to rock with. If you wanted to go with a passing ability or seeing eye to shoot through screens a little better, you're more than welcome to do that. However, I wanted to have a little bit more defense on this build, so that's why I decided to go with Stick 'em Up. Now, for our superstar abilities, for our first one, like I said, we got that 82 wrist shot power and 80 wrist shot accuracy. Reason being was because I do really like to use Heat Seeker on my D-Man builds because I don't take a whole lot of slap shots, so Thunderclap would be kind of useless. I do take good amount of wrist shots, and it really does activate from pretty much the top of the face-off circle to the blue line. So as long as you're taking shots from in that vicinity, which as a D-Man, most of your shots most likely will be, except for occasionally, of course, when you go up and join the rush, Heat Seeker will activate most of the time for your D-Man build. Then for our second superstar ability, I decided to go with Quick Pick. Reason being for this one, we are of course playing defense, so not only is our stick check and stick lifts going to be important, but also playing our lanes and getting those animations are going to be an absolute necessity, so Quick Pick will be able to help us out a little bit with that. And finally, for our boost, there is no speed and there is no acceleration boost, which is why we were able to get 94 speed and 94 acceleration without using any boost this year. But that actually leaves us with the option of what we want to use as our boost. So of course, if you want to use something else for your playstyle, you're more than welcome to, but I decided to go with booming hits for our first one. This way we get a little bit increased body checking to help with our little bumps and just body checks overall to hopefully be able to knock people off the puck a little bit better. And then for our second one, we actually decided to go with Disciplined IQ because getting that defense awareness as high as possible combined with Quick Pick will help us get the best possible animations for those passing lanes, especially when you're playing threes and you need to help out your goalie on those 2-on-1s. And this is the completed build that we're going to be rocking with at least for the start of the year at defenseman. As you see, it is a really good overall well-rounded build, especially for a defenseman. So if you are enjoying these builds and you do like this video, feel free to drop a like, comment any other builds you want to see me create down below, any other types of builds, whether it be goalie, forward, defenseman, it does not matter. I can make any position builds. And also comment any NHL players you want to see me recreate in ESHL down below. If y'all have not seen that series, just know y'all are in for some bangers. Let me know what NHL players you want to see me recreate, and we will recreate them in ESHL, and we will release them in absolute heaters of videos because that series will be back in full effect this year. I promise y'all, boys. So of course, with that being said, if you want to see that, sub with noties on as well so you don't miss any of the bangers that we do have drop in the future. I greatly appreciate you boys watching. Hope to see you in the next one. Peace out, y'all.